Hello, fellow Star Wars fans, and welcome to week number 19 of my War of the Bounty Hunters recap for the epic Star Wars crossover event, all centered around Han Solo and Carbonite being won over by different factions of the galaxies, in between, of course, The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And in this one, we have Bounty Hunters issue number 16. This is a single issue we have this week to talk about for the major event, and this is called Shadow Soldiers. So, the Bounty Hunters tie-in comics have been my favorite, I want to say, out of all these tie-in materials that go into War of the Bounty Hunters, because there's so much heart in Wail and Valance's story here, and we start off with that heart in the beginning of this issue, where he's basically giving his suicide note to the love of his life, to the ward that he had sent off to be safe with the rebels, and he's basically got this broken heart, literally, like his heart, one of the last things that is actually organic in his body, since he's mainly cybernetic, is going bad, right? It's not looking good for Wail and Valance here. So he's giving this message. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they receive it, because they're currently kind of doing things. Cadeliah, who is the successor to this big deal of these different crime syndicates that's going to unite a lot of the crime syndicates, and of course Crimson Dawn doesn't want that to happen. They want to be the dominant force in the underworld. So anyway, we really catch up to the events of what's happening on Jakara, where Dengar and Wail and Valance arrive there trying to get Han Solo and Carbonite. And we see this storyline kind of parallel playing out in War of the Bounty Hunters issue number 4, where we do have Darth Vader that gets Han and Carbonite, and he's getting them back to the Executor. Then we have, Wail and Valance and Boba Fett teaming up, right? Because we want Dengar to kill Boba Fett. We want Wail and Valance to get to Han, because he owes Han a favor. He feels like since Han saved his life, it's now time to return the favor. So we have all these different characters in here. We're seeing the character Tonga, who has her own agenda of trying to find the character of Cadeliah. So she's going back to Jakara to track down Wail and Valance, because she knows that he knows the exact details of where she's at. So their storyline is intertwining, and we get to the end of this issue and we find out this big, deep secret that Dengar had made a deal with none other than Destic to get the invitation to go to this Crimson Dawn party if he would get information to Destic about the character of Cadeliah, who is threatening to, of course, like I said, be the one kind of hitch in the plan of Crimson Dawn for being the dominant force in the galaxy. So I really do like this storyline, because not only are we tying in heavily to War of the Bounty Hunters, but it is actually furthering the story that we've been getting over several issues now with the Bounty Hunters in general, the Bounty Hunters comic series, with what is happening with Cadeliah, what is happening with the whole underworld seat of power and the power grabs that are happening behind the scenes. And we're seeing that heart play out with Wail and Valance. And there's, this seems like there's the most risk out of all the other storylines between Dr. Aphra, between Darth Vader, between Star Wars and Bounty Hunters. Bounty Hunters has the most risk for us losing Wail and Valance as a character. Looking ahead, seeing solicitations for future comics, there's no mention of Wail and Valance. And I just feel like, him leaving that suicide was kind of like the death note of him, like, hey, it's going to be maybe my last time I'm ever going to talk to you. Here's my last message kind of thing. That letter he's leaving behind, I feel like all signs are pointing to, unfortunately, the demise of Wail and Valance, which is really depressing, because I really wanted to see this guy survive and maybe appear in something like the Book of Boba Fett or The Mandalorian Season 3 or something. I think he would be a really cool character with a cybernetic skull and everything like that. Really striking image to see in live action. Maybe there's a chance, but some other cool notable features in this issue is the fact that we have a new creature on Jakara named a Zugarak, which is this big, like, shark-like monstrosity thing that tries to kill Dengar before he is saved by Destic with that deal I was mentioning about. There's a lot of comedy in this issue with Zuckuss, who is working with the character of Tonga to track down Wail and Valance, and he's like using the findsman skills, and she's saying, like, how do you know where he is? And she's just like, I straight up just put a tracking device. Like, what I'm doing right here has nothing to do with what his actual location is. So a little bit of comedy relief with there, a little bit of comedy relief when Boba Fett is talking to Wail and Valance as they're passing him over, the shores, and saying, aha, he would have betrayed you. And then Dengar saying, like, in his own head, like, hey, I would have betrayed you, so it's good that you got away from me. So there's a lot of cool comedy elements in this issue, and I really just enjoyed Bounty Hunters issue number 16. What do you guys have to say about Bounty Hunters in general? Let's talk about it in the comment section down below. We have just a couple more comics left for the War of the Bounty Hunters epic crossover series. How are you enjoying it in general? Let me know in the comment section down below, and please do subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you'll be notified of future Bounty Hunter stories of me talking about those. Plus, you can go ahead and check out our Outer Rim Transmission podcast on the channel here, and you can also download that as well if you want your weekly dose of Star Wars discussions in a long format. So that's gonna do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.